Tiffany, and welcome back to the ComicPOP kitchen. Today's recipe comes to us from the far-flung reaches of space from a billion-year-old alien. That's right, we're going to be doing Larfleeze's Orange Lantern cookies. Now, if you don't know a lot about Larfleeze, he's actually the original Orange Lantern. The Orange Lanterns are all about greed. So while this recipe says that it makes 24 cookies depending on the size that you make, Larfleeze calls that one serving, so he doesn't intend on sharing them with anybody. But I figure it's okay as long as he doesn't find out. So why don't we get down to it?
For this recipe, you'll need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of orange juice concentrate, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1/4 cup of unsalted butter softened to room temperature, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a dash of salt. 1 teaspoon of orange zest. Just get your grater and an orange, and you'll just grate off the outer layer. You want to avoid that white pith part. It's kind of gross. 1/2 cup of white chocolate chunks. And now for the frosting. 2 tablespoons of orange juice concentrate, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter softened, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and red and yellow food coloring for decorations. For the hardware, we're gonna need a couple of bowls, one small and large for the cookies and another bowl for the frosting. You're gonna need a mixer. You'll need a grater for the zest, a spatula, an offset spatula for frosting, but if you don't have that, a butter knife will be just fine. You're gonna need a baking sheet and a cooling rack for the cookies. Before we get started, let's make sure we preheat our oven to 350 degrees. We're gonna begin with the bigger of the 2 bowls, and we're gonna add our softened butter and our sugars, which we're gonna be creaming together. So that's your regular sugar and your brown sugar just right into the bowl. There we go, just kind of mix it up a little bit there. Then you're gonna add your orange zest. And you're gonna wanna get that orange juice concentrate. Just have it be warmed, that way it's not frozen, and just put the 2 tablespoons right in there. You can also make orange juice when you're done with it if you want. Then we're gonna get our mixer and we're just gonna cream these all together. So you'll start off like this, and eventually we will see a change in color where it'll grow a little bit lighter and it'll get more aerated. So just keep at it, keep it on a lower speed. You don't want it going all over the place. And when it looks like that, you're pretty much ready to go to the next step. So a little tip for you, if you have a lot of stuff stuck on your beaters, just keep the beaters low in the bowl and go high on the speed, and it'll kind of fly off into the bowl, which is why a larger bowl is kind of nice. Scrape down your edges a little bit just to make sure everything's incorporated all nice. And then we're gonna grab our egg. So we just wanna crack that right in there, just like that. There we go, no shells this time. And now for the vanilla extract, one of my favorite extracts. Pour that right in there. I don't recommend pouring it over the bowl, but for YouTube purposes, that's how we're doing it today. Just try doing that over the sink or another bowl just in case you have a problem. Okay, we're gonna grab our mixer and we're gonna start mixing this together again. So now we've got our egg and our vanilla, and we're just gonna incorporate all of this, and there we go. It looks much lighter in color now and it's much more airy. So our wet ingredients are pretty much ready to go at this point. So there we go. We're gonna clean off our beaters, and now let's move on to our dry ingredients. So remember that smaller bowl? We're gonna take that along with our flour. We're gonna put that right in there. Just very carefully pour it in. And then we're gonna put in our baking powder and our baking soda and that pinch of salt right in there. Now, of course, these are all almost the same color, so it's kind of hard to see that they're in there, but just mix them up as best that you can, because we're gonna take this bowl and we're going to add it to our wet ingredients. So we wanna give it a chance to get all mixed up together before we do that. All right, here we go. So now we're gonna do small batches so we don't have it going flying everywhere. So you put the first little batch in, keep it on low, get it kind of incorporated in, and then move the beaters over to one side of the bowl and then pour the flour into the other side. That way it doesn't go everywhere. So at this point, our dough pretty much looks like this. I think I did mine in about 4 batches of adding the flour in. It's pretty thick at this point. You can see I'm kind of showing you again how the beaters, if they're dirty, just keep it really low in the bowl. It'll go everywhere. If you get this too high though, it will go all over your kitchen and you and your pets and your friends. And if you have any comics, they're gonna be ruined. So there you go. All right, so now we're gonna add our white chips. If you're like me and you're not a huge fan of white chocolate, you could at this point choose to put in a different type of chocolate chip. I think milk or dark will go great in here. I ended up making another batch of these that had semi-sweet chocolate chips in it instead. All right, so I put these in batches again because this dough is pretty thick and I probably should have selected a more rigid spatula, but ended up getting all the chips in there. Just want to make sure they're all spread out as well as they can be because I always want to have the chip to cookie ratio nice and even. So let's make cookies. I grabbed my baking sheet and I have it greased with a little bit of cooking spray. You can also use oil and a paper towel. And I'm using a 1/2 tablespoon measuring scoop that I had. And I'm essentially just making little balls out of the cookie dough so that way when they bake up, the top will be kind of domed and I can frost them pretty. Okay, now just pop them in the oven. Larfleeze says 12 to 14 minutes, but I started checking mine at 10 minutes because ovens vary. Okay, on to the frosting. We're gonna need that last bowl that we had and we're gonna grab our vanilla again and we're gonna measure it. Again, try not to do it over the bowl just in case anything spills. You want to try to get an accurate amount in there. So next we're going to grab our orange juice concentrate. Again, unfrozen, ready to go. Just pour it right into there. Just like that. Again, maybe not over the bowl, but for YouTube purposes, I'm doing it over the bowl. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to grab the butter and I'm going to unpeel that paper on the outside, put it right in there. Again, this is softened room temperature. You can leave it out a couple hours before you start this whole process and it'll be a really great consistency for it. So now I'm just going to start mixing this a little bit. You don't really have to, but I just kind of wanted to get it going a little bit. Okay, now we're going to start putting in our powdered sugar, just like we did with the flour, in batches slowly. Once the first batch gets incorporated, then add a little bit more and mix until it looks something like this. At this point, our cookies are now done. Hey, they look pretty good to me, but we're not done yet. We're gonna take some of that frosting and we're gonna put it right on these cookies. So here we go. I have a bowl here really for YouTube purposes so you guys can see what I'm doing, but normally you could just frost them in your hand or on a table, whatever. All right, so take a little bit of the frosting, put it in the center, and then just kind of push it out to the edges as far as you want. I'm trying not to have it go all the way out to the edges so that they're easier to pick up. So just do this until all of your cookies are frosted. You see back there I have the orange colored frosting. Well, to make that, I took the frosting that we made and I added some yellow and red food dye. So for my ratio, it was for every 1 drop of red, I added 2 drops of yellow. And that's the liquid. I don't usually use the gels, but you can get those too. Now, I do have a piping bag, but for this I decided to grab just a zip top bag with my little piping tip there. This tip's probably a little bigger than what I wanted, but it worked for what I needed. If you don't have a piping bag at all, I'd recommend taking a small zip top bag, putting your frosting in there, and then cutting a very tiny hole at the end, and then you should be able to squeeze gently in order to decorate your cookies. There's also gel frosting that you can get at the store, and that would work too. So I am not a great decorator, but I'm just going to do my best here, just trying to make a circle. And I'm going to just put the orange lantern symbol right on here. It's just kind of fun. So if you give them a few minutes to dry with the frosting on, when you're all done, it should look something like this. Ta-da! Larfleeze.
All right, so I just made Larfleeze's cookies. Now, he's had, I don't know, like a billion years to make
several billion,
yeah.
Apparently.
So, you know, these should be good. I gotta tell you, he must have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Must have it. These are very sweet from what I can tell based on the ingredients and tasting along the way. I haven't tried the finished cookie yet, but each of the components, the dough itself and the frosting, are very, very sweet.
Okay.
So, I have made Larfleeze's cookies to the recipe, and then I made an alternate.
Oh, an alternate, eh?
I did. I've never done that.
Oh, you gave me the best looking one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's right, I did.
And that's the Orange Lantern logo on the front there?
That's
you can
right.
Pipe that on? Is
Yeah,
that what you did?
hastily piped on. The cookie itself is orange, the frosting is orange.
I do
There's
like orange.
lots of orange going on here, so let's give it a try.
All right.
Here we go.
Yep. Took a big bite out of that one.
Okay. Well, they're cooked well.
Testament to your prowess. This is excellent.
Really? You like them?
Yeah. I don't know if I could eat more than like 1 or 2 of these,
Yeah.
but I love this.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I like, you sunk through the frosting,
Uh-huh.
which I got that orange bite immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then sunk into the cookie, which is firm but has a little give in there thanks
Yeah.
to the white chocolate morsels.
Mm. And that for me, again, if you like white chocolate, you're gonna like these because it's really coming through. It almost gives it like a creamsicle,
Yeah.
almost kind of flavor to it.
Yes.
The orange isn't quite as in your face as I thought it was gonna be.
No, despite the fact that every aspect of this recipe
Yep.
calls for orange.
Every element has orange in it. It's not completely in your face. It is very sweet though.
Yes.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
But I think they're good. They're better than I expected them to be.
Mm. What are you having over there?
I have orange tea
Oh.
with my cookie.
You haven't had enough orange already.
Alright. My alternate version
Yes.
is I took the exact same dough,
Alright.
but the last thing you do is you put those chips in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Semi-sweet chocolate chips.
Okay.
That's what I put in there. I like a dark chocolate.
Yes.
I like, when it's a little bit bitter. I didn't go super on that end, but you could. Because the fact is, I think that chocolate, any type of chocolate goes really well with orange.
Yes.
So you could do milk chocolate. If you like that, go for it. It'll still be a little on the sweet end.
Yeah.
You could go super dark, and I think it would be good.
Definitely.
So that's what I did with this. But I also redid the frosting.
Oh.
I thought that was a little sweet.
Okay.
So mine has just orange zest in it and a little bit of actual fresh orange juice from an orange.
Oh, alright.
So I think it's a little lighter. So you're going to have to let me know.
Yes, which ones are those?
That would be one of these.
Alright.
You can see the little flecks of zest in
Oh,
the
yeah.
frosting a little bit. So exactly, same batter, same frosting recipe pretty much. Like same amount of butter to sugar and all that stuff. I just made little tweaks here and there.
Okay.
All right, give these a try.
Okay, right off the bat, I'm hit with more orange.
Yeah.
The orange zest in the cream.
Yeah.
Whammo.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm getting the taste of the dark chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different bite. It's
It
a
is.
totally different cookie.
It's a completely
This is a
different
completely
cookie.
different taste.
Yeah. I like the orange zest in the frosting way more than I like the other frosting.
Mmm.
Yeah, I like these a lot. I think the, for me, and again, this is a personal taste. At like 100%, because I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who will like the white chocolate, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, the semi-sweet morsels do a better job of highlighting that orange flavor. Like, it really brings it out, I think.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I could go with either one of these.
Really?
Yeah, I
That's
like
great.
them both. This is awesome.
It's a fun opportunity for you to play around with your creativity. Again, you can pipe the symbol on. You don't have to pipe the symbol on. You could do what I did with some of these. I just made them orange. You could always do that. Try different icings. Try a royal icing if you feel so inclined. You'll get that super white. You'll get that easy to pipe on, symbol there. Just don't put them in the fridge
Oh.
if you use royal icing.
Yeah.
The condensation will destroy them.
Oh.
Yeah, it can't hold up to it in there. So
tip.
that'll wreck them for you. But these will be fine. Just throw them in the fridge. No problem.
Nice.
You're good to go. But yeah, this is awesome. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you guys came along for this deep space journey. And I look forward to what we'll be doing next.
Yeah.
Who knows? And I hope you guys give this a try. And if you do, let us know. Did you like the white chips? Do you like no chips? Do you like a different chocolate chip? Let us know in the comments down below. If you thought they were too sweet or they're spot on. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Sal.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye!